Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another 2023 preview and prediction video. Today I'll be doing the Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck Yellow Jackets. Well, last year Georgia Tech fired Jeff Collins, and hired his interim head coach, Brent Key, for this season. And you saw a very interesting turnaround when they turned to Brent Key. Well, he started the year with losses to Clemson, Ole Miss, and at UCF. You got a win against Pitt and Duke. I think they fired Jeff Collins after the UCF game, maybe after, but you got wins against Pitt and Duke. After the bye week, you lost to Virginia and Florida State before beating Virginia Tech 28-27. Losing to Miami, beating North Carolina, who was ranked very highly at the time, and then losing to your big brother, Georgia. So with that being said, let's look at the roster, because Brent Key is trying to absolutely overturn this roster. Quarterback Zach Pyron, Zach Gibson, and transfer quarterback Haynes King come in to fight for that quarterback job. You have Dante Smith at running back, Trey Cooley, running back transfer, coming in from Louisville, who could bring a little spark to that offense. You have Jamie Felix as well helping out. The wide receiver position, DJ Moore, not the DJ Moore you're thinking of, Malik Rutherford, and some transfers. You have Dominic Blaylock coming over from Georgia, Chase Lane coming over from Texas A&M, and Christian Leary coming over from Alabama, coming in to hopefully revitalize this Georgia Tech offense. You also have Brent Seether coming in from Georgia at tight end, Dylan Leonard, he was there last year, and Luke Benson. Offensive line needs to play better for Brent Key this year, but they started to last year when he became the new head coach. With that being said, let's look at the defense. You have Sylvain, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Daquan Dowse, Makias Scott, and the big guy, Zeke Biggers, on the defensive line, and Atinasa Rubin, senior transfer from Clemson. Never does hurt to bring in a guy from Clemson like that. Noah Collins as well, defensive line. You have Kyle Kennard, Andre White, senior transfer from Texas A&M, and Tatum, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, Kyle Efford, and Kevin Harris. Braylon Oliver coming in from Minnesota is going to help the linebacking core as well. And in the secondary, you have Miles Sims. You have Clayton Powell-Lee. He was good last year. I remember watching him. KJ Wallace, Keontae Watson, and Lamiles Brooks. All in all, this Georgia Tech team has talent on it. They just needed the coaching to help them through it. So let's look at the schedule and think how I think Brent Key's first full year as head coach is going to go. Well, they start out on a Friday night in Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Louisville. Georgia Tech has this contract with Mercedes-Benz Stadium to have at least one of their home games every year vacated to be played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And by the looks of it, this was the game. So how do I think that Georgia Tech's going to play in this first game? Well, any of the quarterbacks, they played a lot last year. Haynes King, of course, at Texas A&M, and then the other two, Zachs, played last year in junction with Jeff Sims, who's gone to play at Nebraska. Neither of the quarterbacks looked bad, however, they were not consistent enough to stay. I do think with Brent Key, they're going to be playing a lot better, especially for him. And with new head coach Jeff Brom coming in from Louisville, I could see Georgia Tech pulling off a big win here. I could see it going either way. I'm going to give it to Georgia Tech, though, to give them a Week 1 win against an ACC opponent in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They seem to have had pretty good luck with that, except against Clemson last year. So, I'll give it to them. Week 1 win before playing South Carolina State at home. Think you win that game before having a big road game against Ole Miss. Last year, they came into your house and blanked you. I think you put up more of a fight, but I do think Lane Kiffin's going to have the better of you. I think you get your first loss on the road at Ole Miss. Then you have a back-to-back stretch. You play on the road at Wake Forest. Is Brent Key going to be able to get his guys up after a loss to get a big win? He did last year when they got off a loss and played North Carolina. Will they be able to do that against Wake Forest? Now, I do think Wake Forest is not as good of an opponent as North Carolina was last year, so I give you the win. I think you beat Wake Forest here to get to 3-1. Then you play Bowling Green. I think you win that game. Now, I wouldn't sleep on the Falcons, but I think you'll be able to. I think you'll be able to win the game. So you're not looking bad. You're 4-1 before you go on the road to Miami. This game is going to be tough for you, and I think Mario Cristobal, after that first year, is going to be improving his team a lot. I don't think you're going to go into Miami and get a win against this Miami team. So you go into the bye week 4-2. Coming out of it, you play Boston College. Now, Boston College, I just don't think that they're going to be a very good team this year. I think that you, especially at home, beat the Eagles easily. Then you play North Carolina for homecoming. You've had North Carolina's number over the past couple of years. Will they be able to beat you this year? That's the question. You have them at home. Drake May's coming to your house. You pretty much shut down that offense defensively last year. What's saying you can't this year with Brent Key back? I think you win this game here. Not big, but I'd say you win this game. I think Georgia Tech's going to be able to knock off one of the big three in the ACC, Clemson, North Carolina, or Florida State. And I think it's North Carolina again. So at this point, you're looking 6-2, bowl eligible already. You have a back-to-back road stretch against Virginia and Clemson. I think you beat Virginia, but I do think you lose on the road at Clemson. Just too much of a talent difference. Even though 2 years ago you were able to keep up with them, that was a fluke, in my opinion. So at this point, you are 7-3. Then you play Syracuse and Georgia to end the season. Syracuse, Dino Babers with a great Garrett Schrader at quarterback and that team. At this point in the year, you're 7-3. I think after that Clemson loss, I think you lose your last two games of the season. I just think that Syracuse is a pretty good team, and I don't think that Georgia Tech at this point, I think they could be banged up a good bit. I just have a feeling that Syracuse is going to beat you in this one, but I definitely think that Georgia's going to beat you. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed, and Go Dogs.